Hello, good morning. How are you today? Welcome to a new program, program number 1171. The never-ending story of English classes, but I'm going to finish someday. Someday, sometime, there'll be a new way of living. There'll be a way of forgiving. Someday. Esto es the West Side Story. There's a place for us. Yes, someday I'll finish. But in any case, I want to finish page 98, the last one, which I didn't finish yesterday. Ginny. Ginny is a nickname for Jennifer, short for Jennifer. Ginny is short. Ginny is corto para Jennifer. We say cort. Ginny is short for Jennifer. Hey, Ginny, do you have a needle and thread? A needle and thread, to sew. Yes, sewing, to sew. Se escribe seu, S-E-W. But the pronunciation is like sew, como para un caballo. Sew, sew. I'm sewing. Yeah. And I'm going to thread the needle. Hilar, la aguja, sí, hilar. Y luego hilo. Igual en inglés, thread, thread. I'm going to thread the needle. Thread has otro significado. Thread also means, this is a screw. The thread. I don't remember how to say that in Spanish. Yeah. I'm losing my Spanish. Okay, the thread of a needle. But a needle and thread, aguja y hilo. Needle and thread, hilo con H. Thread. And to thread the needle. Yes. And then you're in a position to sew. And you can sew on a button. If I lose a button, if a button comes off, con doble F, if I lose a button or the button comes off, well, if I have the button, if I find it, oh man, I wanted my button, then Jenny can sew it back on. Fijaos, hasta el verbo coser, se pone, ponerlo mediante el cosido. You can sew it back on. She can sew it back on for me. So, hey Jenny, do you have a needle and thread? Do you have a needle and thread? A button came off my shirt, and I need someone to sew it back on. A button came off my shirt. Necesito a alguien que me lo coser. I need someone, ¿no? I need someone to sew it back on. Se ponerlo de nuevo, cosiendo. I need someone to sew it back on. Esta forma de hablar en inglés es muy ajena a la forma de hablar en español. To sew something back on. I need someone to sew it back on. If you don't, do you know anyone in the office who could help me? Yeah. I think maybe twice in my life, I've lost a button. A button came off while I was working. And I found female employees. Do you have a needle and thread? ¿Tiene hilo? No? In your desk? No? In this company, what are there? In this office, habrá 50 mujeres, no? Maybe 50. I'm sure half of them have needle and thread. Yeah, they're always prepared with needle and thread. They're a needle and thread. All right. And so in this case, Ginny maybe has a needle and thread. Ginny, hey, oye, Jenny. In inglés no se dice oye, claro, se dice hey. Hey, Ginny, do you have a needle and thread? A button. Un purista recomendaría, y yo recomiendo, button. Pero los americanos jamás decimos button. Button. Cotton. Estos son botones de algodón. Cotton buttons. Cotton buttons. In American English, in Canadian English. British, it's a cotton button. Es lo mismo. Cotton. Only Oxford English. Cotton button. Oh, it's a cotton button. All right. but nevertheless, button. To sew a button back on, to sew it on. If you lose a button, you sew it back on. All right. Do you know anyone in the office who could help me? Do you know anyone in the office who could help me? All right. Tomorrow or the day after, we'll start on page 99. ¿Te acuerdas? Do you remember, Marta, how to say 99 in Chinese? Kachichen. Almost 100. Okay. All right. Bookmarker. My trusty, mi confiado, marcador, my trusty bookmarker. I don't know what I would do without these things. I mean, can you imagine life without bookmarkers? You know? Life would be much more difficult. Bookmarkers add a lot of quality to our lives. All right. Aquí morita. ¿Qué pasa con nuestro amigo? Okay, aquí morita. This is the last episode. Mira. Sentado ahí tan pancho, tan confiado. Wow. Todo un tío. All right, aquí morita. Esto es largo. Last week, Aki Morita was named general manager of the Honda factory in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Come on. For Aki Morita, director general de la fábrica. That means el manda más. All right. In the factory. You remember, Aki Morita was the head of quality control in Osaka, in the Honda factories, car factories in Japan. And the company decided to transfer him and his family to Louisiana in the United States, to a city called Baton Rouge, which, by the way, is the capital of Louisiana. It's an important city because it's the political center and legal center of Louisiana. And he went there as the quality control manager, and he spent a couple of years choosing the suppliers, implementing the Honda quality control policies, and making sure that the production of cars in the factory in Louisiana was optimum, high quality and reliability, fiabilidad. Quality and reliability. Quality and reliability. Puedes confiar en mí. You can rely on me. Reliability. La habilidad para rely. Reliability. 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 Reliable. No es de fiar, ella. She's not reliable. Remember, to trust implica algo más moral o ético. Trust. No me fío de él. Me robará, nos robará. I don't trust him. Nos hará una faena. I don't trust. Now, to rely no tiene esa connotación de desconfianza ética. To rely means es de fiar que hará lo que le digo. You remember the difference. A reliable person is a person who performs in line with his tasks. If I tell Marta to turn off the lights, she gets up and turns off the lights. Well, I can rely on her to do what I say. Reliable, yes. And if I'm driving my car and I need to turn left, I turn the steering wheel this way and the car turns to the left. Why? Because the steering system, sistema de dirección, is reliable. If I turn it and it goes that way, it's not reliable. The braking system, I press the brakes and the car slows down and stops. If it doesn't, it's very dangerous. I'm in trouble. So the braking system needs to be reliable. So reliability on a car is extremely important for your safety. And a person, to be a reliable person, I always tell the same story, the story of my good friend Paco. I gave Paco 5,000 euros, 5,000 euros le di en efectivo. I gave it to him, 5,000 euros, to deposit in my bank account. I gave him I said, Paco, here's 5,000 euros in this envelope. Take it to the bank. Here's the account number and deposit it. Tell them it's from me. Deposit the money in my bank account. So Paco said, no problem, boss. And he put in his jacket pocket and he went to the bank, which is only 2 blocks away. But between my office and the bank is Bar Manolo. And he passed Bar Manolo and he saw his friend Pepe having a beer in Bar Manolo. And so Paco, Pepe. He went in and they had a beer together. And again, another beer and a third beer. And Paco forgot to go to the bank. He went directly home. He went straight home. And when he got home, he emptied his pocket and he realized he had that money, 5,000 euros. He said, my God, I forgot to go to the bank. The next morning, he came and he said, boss, he said to me, I completely forgot. I stopped along the way because I saw my good friend Pepe in Bar Manolo and I completely forgot. I'll go right now. So, what can we say about Paco? Now, I trust him. He's not going to steal the money. I trust Paco completely. But he's not reliable. No opera según las especificaciones, como un freno, un sistema de frenado o sistema de dirección. Tiene que operar según las especificaciones. Y Paco tampoco, las especificaciones era ingresar el dinero en mi cuenta. Y se le olvidó. Sin embargo, nunca jamás me robaría. No se iría con el dinero. I can trust him, but I can't rely on him 100%. I can trust him, but I can't rely on him. He's not 100% reliable. The level of reliability, etc. So, Aquí Bonita's factory in Baton Rouge produces quality and reliability. And because of his success, he has been named the general manager of the Honda factory in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He and his family have been in the U.S. for only 8 months. Solo llevan 8 meses. ¿No? Qué rápido. He and his family have been in the U.S. for only 8 months. But the factory is already running at 100% capacity. Fantastic. 100% de capacidad. Con chorrería, coche. Honda, otra Honda. Yeah, the factory is running, operando, 100% de capacidad. The factory is running at 100% capacity. More importantly, más importantemente, more important, dice así en inglés, more importantly, in its latest issue, the magazine Manufacturing Renaissance rated the factory's defects rates as the lowest in the nation. Toma. Wow. There's a magazine in the world of manufacturing called Manufacturing Renaissance. It's a magazine. Renacimiento de Fabril o Fabricación. Por los cambios. And in the last issue, el último número de esa revista, Aki's factory was rated the first in the nation, #1 in the United States, in the defect rate, tasa de defectos de fabricación, el más bajo, la más baja tasa. Not bad. The lowest, yes. More importantly, in its latest issue, fijaos, in its last is el último. Latest también es el último. Yes. Pero last es el último en la fila, de ya no hay más, es el último. But the latest es el último en el sentido del más reciente. En el número más reciente de esta revista. In the latest, not the last. Last significa no habrá más. In the latest issue. Issue, doble S. Issue es una, entre muchos otros significados, significa número de revista. Okay, in its latest issue, the magazine Manufacturing Renaissance evaluó, rated the factory's defect rate, valga redundancia, tasa de defecto, tasó la tasa de defecto, as the lowest in the nation. Not bad, very good quality. When the previous general manager returned to Japan for health reasons, Aki was the logical choice to take over the position. So, when Aki went, and his family, when they went to Baton Rouge, there was a general manager there. But 10 months later, the general manager returned to Japan for health reasons, motivos de salud, razones de salud, for health reasons. And Aki was the logical choice to take over. To take over es asumir el mando. To replace, reemplazarle, sustituirle. To replace. Pero substitute en inglés no, replace. Substitute es temporal, como suplencia. Replace is reemplazar, sustituir de forma permanente. That's to replace, not to substitute. All right. So, and he was the logical choice to take over. To take over is asumir el mando, to take over. All right, to take over the position. He had been instrumental. Había sido instrumental. ¿Cómo? Había sido clave. Okay. He had been instrumental in training U.S. suppliers, U.S. domestic suppliers, so proveedores locales, domésticos, de inglés, to adhere to the strict Honda policy on quality and delivery. The strict Honda policy, yes, to adhere to, adherirse a. Adhesión, es curioso. This is interesting about Spanish and English. I love comparing languages. Adherir is a verb. Fine. But in Spanish you have two nouns, adherencia y adhesión. And they come from the same verb. Now, adhesión es adhesión en una causa, una ideología. Adherencia es que pega. Y no sé, adherencia, buena adherencia. In English it's the opposite. Adhesion, adhesión, it means se pega bien. And adherence es adhesión a una causa. Adherence. Y aquí habla de adhere, en el sentido de adherence, adhesión a las políticas estrictas, the strict policies. Yes. It says, he had been instrumental. Aquí bonita had been, pluscuamperfecto aquí. Aquí had been instrumental in training, formarles, adiestrarles, in training U.S. domestic suppliers, United States, U.S., estadounidenses, U.S. domestic suppliers to adhere to means to follow the strict Honda policy on quality and delivery, calidad y fechas de entrega. Yeah, just-in-time production. Aki Morita is a very intelligent man and a very hard worker. All right. Aki continues to work. Well, from before sunrise to well past 8 p.m. So Aki works from, he gets to the factory before the sun comes up, in the dark. Of course, in Spain, the sun comes up very late in the winter. I come here for my radio show. I come here before sunrise. I mean, the sun rises at 9 o'clock or 8:30 in Spain during the winter. Because in Spain, the sun, well, the time is 1 hour ahead of the sun, half the year, and 2 hours ahead of the sun, the other half of the year. Right now, I'm speaking to you, I think estamos en junio, ¿no? Estaremos en junio, yeah? The Spanish time is 2 hours ahead of solar time. You see, if you go to the tip of Italy, Brindisi or Sicilia, if you go to Sicily, it's the same time as in Finisterre. In Galicia, it's the same time. But it's 1,500 kilometers. It's a long way. So, in Sicily, it's dark. But in Vigo and Pontevedra and in Santiago and Coruña, it's light. Completely. At the same time. Because Spain is on the same time as Italy and Germany. All right. In any case, Aki Morita, he has been very successful. Yes. And he gets up and goes to work before dawn. Before dawn. Antes del amanecer. Dawn. D-A-W-N. Dawn. And he doesn't get home until after 8 p.m. He works from 7 o'clock to 8. He works 13 hours a day. He's crazy. All right. He's usually one of the last people to leave the factory in the evening. The factory works on 3 shifts, by the way. But he's usually the last person to leave the offices during the day. See, the factory works on 3 shifts. The first shift is from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. From 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. The second shift is from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. And the night shift, or graveyard, decimos turno de camposanto or turno de cementerio, turno de ultratumba, is from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. And so they're always making cars. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Very successful. And they're selling a lot of Hondas, all right, in the United States. And so he gets up and but he's in the office area, not in the factory, but in the office area, he's one of the last people to leave the office. All right. Yes. And he's still surprised. Está sorprendido él, incluso. He's had how well his wife and children have adapted to the American way of life. You remember Aki's wife didn't speak English. And his children, they spoke very little English, really. Aki was worried before going to the United States. He was worried about his wife and children. But now he's surprised. He's surprised at how well. Surprised by. Surprised with. Tres proposiciones nos van a decir. Sorprendido de lo bien que se han adaptado. He's surprised by how well. He's surprised with how well. He's surprised at how well. They have cuán bien su mujer y sus hijos se han adaptado. How well his wife and children have adapted to the American way of life. His wife is taking driving lessons. Yeah, the wife is learning how to drive. Yeah, I think she's 39 years old or something. She's for the first time in her life, because in Osaka she didn't drive. In the United States it's necessary, except in New York City, in Manhattan, in the rest of the United States, it's absolutely necessary to know how to drive. The cities are laid out and designed for driving and not for moving around without a car. So she's learning how to drive. His wife is taking driving lessons and will get her license within a month. License, su carnet de conducir. Licencia, license. She'll get her license dentro un mes, within a month. Aki has already reserved a Honda Civic for her. Un Honda Civic. Estamos haciendo publicidad gratuita, ¿no? For Honda. Free, every car, Renault, Citroën, all of them are good cars. Opel, all of them are good cars, okay? Ford, and a Honda Civic too. So Aki has already reserved a Honda Civic for his wife. Okay. Yes. That way, she doesn't have to depend on her neighbor, the purchasing manager's wife. You remember, they live on the same block. The purchasing manager is Japanese, but his wife is American. She's from Texas. And the purchasing manager's wife and Aki's wife have become good friends. However, because Aki's wife doesn't know how to drive, the purchasing manager's wife the purchasing manager's wife takes her to different places in the city. But in the future, it won't be necessary because Aki's wife is learning how to drive. Okay, so we'll see. And we'll continue. That way she doesn't have to depend on her neighbor, the purchasing manager's wife. The first thing Aki's wife wants to do when she has her car is to drive down to New Orleans with the kids on a Saturday. Yeah, Aki works all day on Saturday. Aki never stops working. And so once she knows how to drive, she wants to drive down from Baton Rouge to New Orleans, to see the city. They've been living there for almost 1 year, and they haven't gone down to visit New Orleans. New Orleans is only about 1 hour from Baton Rouge. It's like driving from Madrid to Toledo, but they haven't done it. But I'll come back tomorrow to finish the story of Aki Morita. Take care.